Thanks for tuning in to the Nindie Nation podcast, a weekly show dedicated to games for the Nintendo Switch brought to you by independent developers. I'm Jeff, and I'm joined by the man who used to be free with your Switch purchase, but is now $20 a year, but at least he comes with 30 classic NES games included. Josh.
Guess who's back? Back again. Nindie's back. Hello, friend.
And yes, after taking a short hiatus last week, we appreciate everybody sticking with us. We are back this week to cover this week's new releases and sales for fantastic upcoming indie titles on the Nintendo Switch. We'll talk about some of the games that we're playing, talk about the games that we hope you're playing, and in the second half, as always, we'll cover games on sale and the games that are coming up next week on the Switch. But those games aren't here yet, so to kick us off, Josh, let's hear about what's been keeping your Joy-Con synced this week.
Oh man, Jeff, it's been a long 2 weeks, my friend.
Yeah?
I've been all over all gaming systems, consoles, and yeah, I have a lot. I've been playing a lot, needless to say.
Well, let's hear about it.
Okay, I will hit on a few Nindie titles here, of course. I'll start off with Armello. And this game has been around for a while. It's from developer League of Geeks. And
League of Geeks, that's fun.
Yeah, I like their sort of name there. But it's a pretty much a digital board game, but it looks really pretty. It's you control anthropomorphic animals, and there's wearing factions that you control one of those, and it's set on like a isometric like board game arena where you move tiles, and then there's a king that's infected with this disease called rot, and every turn that each character takes, his health goes down, and your goal is to have the most prestige at the end of the game in order to take the kingdom. And then, or you can take him out, the king, or find 4 special stones that grant you the power to defeat him, and then you win that way too. So there's a variety in how you can accomplish
multiple ways to win.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a really neat take on like a board game surface. And like I said, the graphics are beautiful. The cutscenes that they do, they're very artistic, hand drawn. And there's a card system in place, lots of different magic and weapons you can equip that help you. And the combat's done by like die roll. So you roll your die, and then whatever you get attack, defense, and then you just stack up against the other person that you're going against, and then that's how much damage you deal. And you never really die. If you get knocked out, you just start from the beginning, but you lose some prestige. And so when you defeat somebody, you gain prestige. And when
what
you
is
do
that? Is that like a score, or how do you generate the prestige? It's a
scoring based system where if you defeat another faction's leader, you gain 1 prestige. If you do certain missions, you gain prestige. If you smite evil demons, that the king's sort of losing his mind since he has this rot infecting him. So he'll summon like these beasts from hell or something. And if you defeat them, then you gain prestige. And yeah, it's pretty much that. In all the matches I played, that's the way I mainly won, was by gaining prestige. It's almost impossible to kill the king outright because he's really tough. And
so you're playing online?
Yeah, you can play online. I play mainly against the AI though, because they're pretty adequate on their own. And if you like board games, tabletop games, it's a nice game to play, but because it's a little faster than if you're playing a board game, but it's still pretty slow at times. Like you have to go through everyone's turn, and there's only this slow fast forward type of speed you can use for it. But it was fun. There's a lot of strategy involved, so I appreciate that.
So is there a like progression system in it, or is it like truly like pulling out a board game where you're kind of starting fresh every time? Like is there any kind of campaign thing that lets you build up characters or anything like that?
Well, the tutorial, it actually has one of the best tutorials in gaming, in my opinion, because it's based off like a story. The tutorial is, when you get to the actual gameplay, it's just based in little missions, like, you know, just it takes the same concepts that you learned in the tutorial, and it shows each of the factions. You play as each one of the factions, so you learn their like strengths and weaknesses. Like some have abilities, like have a higher, you know, card deck on hand and other abilities that they may use. So yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed it, to be honest.
How long is a game? I mean,
It's over pretty quickly, actually. I mean, it averages 30, 40 minutes, and you can stop, and if you're just playing against the AI, you can stop like halfway through and save it, which is nice.
Yeah, take a break or whatever. Sure.
Yeah, so like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, it looks like something you'd see out of the Studio Ghibli film. The artwork it's really beautiful, and yeah, it ran great on the Switch.
Looks really cool. The animals, it looks like Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah,
kinda.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah, like talking animals, you know. So next, I was playing Rise and Shine, and I never heard of this title before I played it. It's by this developer's name's unique, Super Awesome Hyper Dimensional Mega Team. That's the name of the developer.
That's setting quite the bar. They better deliver.
They better. Published by Adult Swim Games, so there's some pedigree there.
Oh, okay.
This is pretty much pure action platformer. It has a really awesome art design, though. It looks like the colors are really bright. It's in a post-apocalyptic setting, and there's like this evil corporation that's crash landing on this planet, destroying all life, and you're this boy that gets this talking gun as your main weapon, and the gun has the power. You can actually control the bullets. There's like an option to do that, and you gain different bullet powers, like electrical bullets for maybe electrifying the enemy, then shooting them off. And there's some light cover elements, a la Gears of War or something like that, where you can get behind cover, then jump out, shoot, get back behind. And yeah, it was a pretty neat title.
I just pulled up the trailer. This thing looks really cool. I mean, the graphics, you know, look like a comic book, or well, they look like an Adult Swim cartoon.
Right. It looks like just like your Saturday morning cartoon. That's how good it looks. And then plus, I said there's some puzzle elements to it too, like you controlling the bullet as you fire it. Like you have your regular fire, but then there's ways you got to go through a corridor, maybe hit a switch somewhere, guiding this bullet. And
it looks like there's a couple of different kind of what you're saying. Like I saw in the trailer, it showed like a side-scrolling shoot 'em up section or something like that. Like you're not doing the same thing every level.
Right, yeah. It's brutally hard, though. Like, you will die a lot. It actually has a counter for how many times you die, which is funny. But
yeah, and then the game starts taunting you when you die, like in the Messenger.
Yeah, but like I said, when anybody dies, they just explode in, like, blood and guts everywhere, and body parts shoot off. So it has this innocent cartoon style, but then it's, like, really bloody. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Super awesome, hyper-dimensional mega team.
Yeah. That's one to keep your eyes on right there.
So you recommend this one? It seems like you're digging it.
Yeah, I'm digging it. But if you're not a shooter fan, or if you're not into hard games, then you probably won't like it. I mean, it can be a little slow too with the cover mechanics. Like sometimes it doesn't feel like it works the way it should. But
you think you'll go back to it and play it more?
Yeah.
Or do you think you kind of? Oh yeah.
Good. Yeah, I'll definitely try to finish it because I'm enjoying my time. And they introduce new gunplay mechanics as you go through, which is pretty awesome.
That is cool. The next one you're going to mention is one that I've been very interested in.
Yeah, Alwa's Awakening, and this is from developer Elden Pixels. And as the name implies, this is pretty much a blast from the past, you know, NES, full blown. Like some titles like Shovel Knight, like innovate in the 8-bit era. This is meant to be like an actual throwback to a game you'd actually play then, which I appreciate. Okay. And you play as this wizard, and you gain powers as you go through. It's like a Metroidvania pretty much, where like you can summon bricks or summon floating platforms that you can get up higher, or make bridges that you can get across. You go against bosses, you go into dungeons. What I liked about it was there's a lot of verticality to it, so it's not just side scrolling the whole way through. Like, there's a lot. If you fall down in a pit, you just won't die. You might go into another lair or something like that, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was really. This is another one that it's you know what you're getting with it. It's not going to necessarily blow you away, but if you want an NES type of title, it's perfect for that.
Do you know how much this is?
Not off the top of my head, no.
I'll look it up. I was watching the trailer as you were mentioning that, and I saw a mechanic where you use a magic wand to create a bubble that you then stand on as it raises you up, and then it pops, and it's like, wow, that feels like every NES adventure game.
It's like I said, while Shovel Knight and The Messenger take inspiration from classics and then warp them into modern gameplay mechanics, Alwa's Awakening felt like more of a true representation from the past. Like, it's not trying to be anything it's not. It's just pure NES bliss, if that's your thing.
Do you have any idea how long this one is?
It's not very long. From what I can tell from someone else I'm talking to that's playing this, he said it took about 7 hours maybe. So it's not too long, but that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, How Long to Beat shows 10 hours for the completionist run. So that makes sense.
Yeah, which is probably a good thing, because it's probably the type of game you don't want to play too long, but it's just a nice little throwback that I've been enjoying.
Yeah, I might pick that one up. That'll be one I at least put on my wish list and look for a sale.
Sure. And then finally, next game I'll hit on is Stay. And this is from developer AppNormal's team, and it's published by P-Cube. They've done many different types of Switch ports and Switch games. But this is another retro 16-bit adventure title. And what drew me to this was, it's like if you're in AOL or MSN Messenger and you're talking to somebody. The premise is there's this guy named Quinn, and he's stuck in this room. And there's only a computer, and then you're communicating to Quinn through the computer, and you make dialogue choices to try to maybe help him along, and you become this sort of interaction. You gain this appreciation for him. You're trying to guide him in the way that he can get out of this room. There's little secrets that you might find that you might know about that you can help him with, or build this bond with him that you can totally destroy later on. It's pretty cool.
So is it a texted? I mean, it's a text-based adventure game, or
yeah, there are certain puzzle sections too that you can do, or you have to have Quinn do and tell him how to do it. Which I thought that was probably the weakest part of the game, just because I thought the narrative was so strong that I sort of just wanted to keep, with the whole choose your own adventure style of gameplay.
And I don't know if it's similar, but it sounds similar to the Emily is Away, or what was the one game where you were
Away?
No, oh. That's a fantastic
I've heard
game.
That's really cool, though.
Now, that one you have to type out. You're not... I'm assuming being on the Switch, you're selecting
you select
choices.
your answers.
That makes it a lot more approachable.
Right.
But yeah, something like that. Or what was the one that was on PC where you were the detective and you had to watch all of the interrogation videos? Do you remember that?
Man. I remember... Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. It gained a lot of rewards because it was FMV style.
Yeah, exactly. It was that one. Yeah, whatever that game. I don't even know how I would search for figuring out what that game is. That's cool. Well, that's pretty cool that you've got look at the 4 games that you're playing. There's a big look at the breadth of all of those games. That's cool.
Everyone is so unique in its own way, and they're usually games that I wouldn't enjoy playing either. For Armello would be something I wouldn't think I would like, but I really liked playing it a lot. And same with Stay. I like those types of games, but they really nailed the actual interactivity of it. So
That is cool. Get you out of your maybe your comfort zone a little bit, try something different, and have all those different things to bounce around with. That's
Right.
probably one of my favorite parts of doing this podcast is that it forces me to try some stuff outside of my comfort zone. And, there's a handful of games I've found that, ended up blowing me away. It's cool to see how much is out there, but
Right.
yeah. So let's see. On my end, I just picked up, and I think I'm going to try to have a little segment that's focused on the $1, $2 games that we always see on the Switch every week. I mean, you see them, a lot of them are mobile games, a lot of them are crap, but
Jeff's
I think...
indie segment.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to build something.
Nah,
I'm gonna have to build.
don't use that. Yeah.
For the listeners, well, actually, I'm probably just gonna take that clip and throw like
Remix
a metal riff behind it.
Jeff's indie segment. Jeff's indie segment.
But for the listeners, I hope you can appreciate what I do when I'm editing the podcast at like 1 a.m. and I'm bored. Is I get a little copy paste happy.
To say the least, yeah.
I hope it's endearing and not obnoxious. So anyways, in that vein of trying some of these cheaper games, I have picked up a title that was $1.49 called Spartan, and it is developed by Sinister Cyclops Game Studios. And I want to tell you why I bought it. I was looking through some of these cheap games, trying to pick one that I was like, all right, I'll play this for an hour or so and see how it is. And in one of the descriptions, or maybe it was the website, I forget where I read it, I saw the tagline that said, "This is a true indie game made by two brothers." And I was like, all right, that's cool. Let's
Sounds
see.
endearing.
Yeah, and so Spartan is a 2D platformer action game. It's you have a double jump, and there's lots of ladders, and there's spikes everywhere that'll instantly kill you, and it's I think it accomplishes what it sets out to do. I'm going to spend a little bit more time with it, but I mean, it's $1.49 and it kind of feels like that, but it looks decent. The graphics are, I don't know. You played a little bit of it. It's kind of like a Super Nintendo style. It looks kind of like Rogue Legacy, but in, like Spartan, that type of aesthetic, but the character animations and graphics remind me of Rogue Legacy in that way.
I will say to all the listeners, I did not like this game one bit. Jeff is being very, very lenient on it. So, I mean,
Jeff is being a little lenient.
I just did not care for how the character controlled at all. Like, it was an immediate turnoff. And the combat with, whatever combat is there, it just did not work. I felt like I was out of control, like it wasn't working the way I wanted it to. And
yeah, there's definitely way too many insta-deaths that happen because I feel like I missed a jump that I shouldn't have. And I will say that there are atrocious loading screens in it.
Yeah, that's another thing.
And I read in the description that the game is built on Unreal Engine 4.
A game like that needs to be and
that's probably why it takes so long to load, right? Because it is such a heavy piece of middleware that is driving the whole thing. And the loading is a little bad. There's a lot of accidental deaths. But I'm going to try it a little bit more. What's interesting about it is that each level is kind of an open 2D area. And to progress to the next level, you have to find 5 treasure chests within the level. And, they're just scattered. There's nothing fancy or special about how it does it. But, and so it's not open world, but it's an open area and there's multiple paths. So you can go take the high road or the low road. And, I think there's an upgrade path or some kind of new abilities you can get. So I at least want to see that before I move on. Like if there's something that can help some of that accidental death or that kind of stuff, then it might be worth sticking around a little bit more for.
Yep.
I want to touch on 2 games that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago because I'm still playing both of them. And the first one is Sparkle 3 Genesis, the $1 game I bought a couple of weeks ago and talked about on the podcast. If you recall, it's very reminiscent of the PlayStation title Flow. You're a little organism, you move around, you eat other organisms, you get bigger, and then you progress to the next level. That's really all I'm going to say because I talked about it once already. But it's fun. It's a great... I've noticed most times I play it, it's when I'm too tired to start anything else. And then I just turn it on and I move the stick around and swim my little dude around and pick some things up. And I'm very impressed that I've gone back to it a couple of times when I've got so much other great stuff on the Switch. So for what it's worth.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you just, to free your mind in a sense, just control a little sperm organism around.
Yeah.
It's just relaxing, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I will say I forget the developer's name, but they've made like 6 or 7 of these games already. The next time they make one, I'll probably get it. Like, assuming it's like $3-5, something like that, I'll probably get the next one just to see what else they do to it.
Sure.
But the main reason I wanted to revisit the games that I mentioned on the last episode is because Old School Musical is just amazing. I have been spending so much time with this game, and I think it coincides with some new earbuds that I got about a month ago. I got some awesome Klipsch brand earbuds that are, they're not noise canceling, but they block out a lot of noise, and I've been traveling a lot, and so I found myself I was on an airplane traveling for work on a red eye. It was about midnight, and so they had all the lights off in the airplane, and I pulled out the Switch and I didn't know what I wanted to play, so I booted up Old School Musical, and I'm about half to 2/3 of the way through the game. And at one point I realized that, like, when the game was in a loading screen and everything was quiet, I kind of had that moment where I was like, oh, I'm like breathing really loud and I'm pushing the buttons like furiously, and I'm pretty sure I'm distracting to a lot of people, but I just got in that groove,
They're like, what is that guy doing over there? Is messing around?
Yeah. But it's the hits keep coming with it. It's a blast. I really do recommend that if you want a music game for the Switch. And the only other one that I can really think of is like Thumper. So if that's not meeting your fancy, this is a lot different style music game.
And
Luminous, yeah, and Luminous is amazing. I don't know if I recommend Old School Musical over Luminous or not. And Luminous is definitely an all-time favorite puzzle game for me.
It's one of the best, yeah.
Yeah, and they're different things. They're different games. One's a falling block game with Luminous, and then Old School Musical is a little more interactive, level-based kind of thing. But so anyway, Still playing both of those and still surprised at how much I'm playing. The other game is not a Switch game, but it is an indie game and something that I thought we could talk about the developer a little bit. I've been playing through on my Vita, which is known as the original Switch, or at least it tried to be.
Long live the Vita.
Long live the Vita. Moment of silence. So I've been playing Muramasa Rebirth, which is developed by Vanillaware. And it's a side-scrolling hack and slash. It's not really a hack and slash, but it's a very in-depth, combo-driven, but fairly simple to control. What is it? Feudal Japan, but with magic and stuff like that.
Amazing artwork, yeah.
Incredible. I mean, the game has this beautiful watercolor or Japanese painting style that's just gorgeous, and everything about the game is amazing. And the whole time I'm playing this game, I just think, God, this would look really good on the Switch. Wish we had this game on a larger screen and HD and all that kind of stuff. And you mentioned that you're a big Vanillaware fan as well.
Yes, yeah. I'd love to see Odin Sphere. That's my favorite one by them.
Yeah. And the games are very similar. Odin Sphere's just got a little bit more to it.
Right. Did they do Dragon's Crown too?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They sure did.
Yeah, they all their games would just be so perfect on this system.
Yep. Yep, they do. I was doing a search the other day. Their next game coming out is called 13 Sentinels.
Really?
And
do they have releases for it or what it's coming out for?
I'm looking right now. It looks a little bit different than what they've done in the past. I'm going to have to pull it up real quick. I mean, the art style, the characters all look the same, but it's a little bit, it's like
maybe it's different gameplay mechanics.
Yeah, it's like mech based. It's like that same world and that same style, but with, big ass anime mechs. And
nice.
these guys, they're a developer that every time they release a game, I'm going to buy it because they've proven to me over and over and over how great they are. And so, just putting that out there, like I said, it is an indie game. It's just not a Nindie. And so hopefully we maybe get 13 Sentinels or, Odin Sphere or Muramasa Rebirth or Dragon's Crown. They release any of those on the Switch and I'm buying it. I don't know if Dragon's Crown could run on the Switch. That's a pretty
extensive game, but they could definitely get Odin Sphere. That's a PS2, which Odin Sphere Lefthrasir is the new one that they released that was remastered for PS4. Though they have it on the Vita, so
yeah, I played it on the Vita and I got the platinum.
Can definitely run on the Switch.
Yeah, for sure. If it can run on the mini Switch, it can run on the real Switch. Hey, before we jump into the new releases, I wanted to ask you if you saw the reports about the upcoming Switch revision today. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know what to make of it. I haven't read really much on it yet.
It's basically that by the end of next summer, 2019, it looks like Nintendo's going to bring out a new iteration. And so really, other than that, obviously, you can assume they're going to improve the battery life. They're going to improve the screen, whatever that means. But
sure.
Just curious if you had any thoughts. We both spend so much time with your Switch. What do you want in the next gen? Do you want them to go the new 3DS route, or do you want them to go the DS Lite route? What kind of upgrades are you looking for?
Yeah, I would say if they're going to do anything, just make the Switch all portable. Maybe make it so it's more beefier inside components, but that the Joy-Cons are just there. That it's just that's what I would prefer. I think more than anything, because I rarely play it docked anymore.
Same, and I feel like if you look at the Switch and look at the bezel, the bezel is large on the Switch. It's much larger than any other modern smart gadget. Like phones are obviously going all screen now, but even if you look at tablets or even laptop screens, the bezels are not that large. And I think part of it is because of the Joy-Con docking mechanism.
You're right.
So you're probably right. You could shrink it down a little bit, make the screen a little larger, make it so the Joy-Cons can't be detached, and then Nintendo's got something that'll let them pull the 3DS off the market.
Exactly. Its 3DS it's dying down, not as fast as I would like, but it's still one of their better selling systems, so they're going to support it until they get something like a new Switch Go or something like that. So who knows?
The Switch Go. Yeah, I wonder what they'll call it. Interesting. So anyways, so that's the games that we've been playing recently. Would love to hear your feedback if you're listening, and any games that if you've played any of these, have any thoughts about them, or even better, if you heard about them and you picked one up and tried it out because you heard what we had to say about it. We'd love to hear from you. Moving into the second half of the show, since we missed last week, let's review what just recently came out in the last, week or so, and then we'll dive into the upcoming releases for next week and sales. So, Josh, what's jumping out for you from a recently released Nindie?
Recently released? Well, I'm going to just bring this one up just because I like the developer, Rathalaka Games, Jack and Jill DX. And this looks pretty. It's like almost a Game Boy like art style puzzle platformer where you have you're trying to unite Jack with Jill again, obviously, and they're like these little blob creatures that run along a certain path, and you push. It's just like one button controls where you push to jump, and there's certain they throw different things in as you go along, and it just looks really sort of simple, but I like those types of simple games that you don't really have to think about too much. But yeah,
It does, and is it Ratalaika?
I said Radaleka. Yeah, that's a guy. Who knows?
This developer has been great on the Switch. You know, they're Jack and Jill's obviously the new game. One More Dungeon, Devious Dungeon, which we're both fans of. Super Destronaut DX, which is, you know, it's okay. It's just a little too simple, I think.
Yeah.
But they've made a lot of great games, and this game, it looks like that Box Boy game. I've never played the Box Boy trilogy, but it's, you know, Nintendo loves trouting that game around as a Nindie. That's very cool. What else you got that's worth mentioning? Came out since our last episode.
I will say, and I'm not sure how to say this either, but Jetomero or Jetomero.
Jetomero.
And this is from
right.
Ghost Time Games. And it's something that you just have to watch because it takes that whole monster destroying all things on like a whole city aesthetic, but it takes it to the next level, like you're on a planet and you're destroying everything as a giant robot.
Yeah, it almost seems like the opposite of Katamari Damacy, where instead of rolling around and picking things up, you're like walking around trying not to destroy things.
Yeah, exactly. It has a unique premise. Or more like Octodad.
Right. Those, and I feel like everybody needs to have one of those ridiculous physics-based games. Those are fun. Like, you know, Goat Simulator, Octodad, that kind of stuff. They're stupid, but they're fun. I noticed this game called Nefarious by Digerati, another indie dev.
They're another one's that great for Switch.
Yeah, tons of games on the Switch. Nefarious looks like it borrows elements from a lot of different 2D games, RPGs and run and gun and shoot 'em ups and brawlers, but you play as the bad guy.
Yeah.
And have you played this or seen anything about it?
No, I haven't played it yet.
It's got a great, fairly retro art style, and it looks like it would be a lot of fun. I mean, they've got screenshots that look like Final Fantasy VI. They've got screenshots that look like a Mario game. And it just came out. It's $15 by Digerati. I think that one. I'm gonna put that one on my wish list and watch for a sale for that one.
Definitely. I'll hit on Wonder Song.
Yeah.
This is from Humble Bundle, and this one just looks really unique. Like you have this character that sings in all these different octaves, and you solve puzzles that way, and it has a platforming element to it, and yeah, it just looks really intriguing.
I was interested in getting it. I almost picked it up, but it was a couple bucks more than I was willing to spend for my impulse buy.
Right.
But I'm watching the trailer for it, or I did, and I cannot figure out how that game controls. It looks cool, you know, that music-based type thing.
It's like a direction wheel where you like push a button to bring up all your different notes, and then that's how you sing in different tunes to like make certain things grow. Or it's like a weapon wheel or something.
Now. Got it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense now.
That's what I get from it anyway. I haven't.
Yeah,
played
no,
it, so
you're right.
But it looks pretty cool though. Different mechanics, you know. I always like the games that try to experiment a little bit. I feel that I like originality, so
yeah, we got to support that kind of stuff so that developers are willing to take a risk on the Switch, or just in general. We got to get that new stuff to keep getting more new stuff.
Exactly.
We also had a game called Trouser Heart come out. It looks kind of like that Wizard of Legend game. It's like that isometric kind of top down. Looks like a what is it? what's the word I'm thinking of? It's not a beat 'em up. It's an action RPG maybe.
Yeah.
And it seems halfway decent. The Kai Games is the developer, and I don't know much about this developer, so don't know what their pedigree is. But it looks like it's a humorous take on this genre with a serviceable art style. But another one going on the wish list. Might try that one out because there's just something therapeutic about a good top-down action RPG, just kind of mowing through things with a sword, cutting all the grass and collecting all the things, and it kind of looks like that.
Best thing to do in Zelda: cut grass and throw pots.
And stay away from the chickens.
Yeah, exactly. Don't aggravate those chickens. Yeah. How about Vertical Drop Heroes HD? I think I played this a little bit on the Vita, if I remember correctly, but it takes the genre roguelike, of course, and I think it has a lot in common with Rogue. What's that game called? Rogue
Legacy.
Rogue Legacy. Yeah, it has a lot in common with that, with those procedurally generated areas. And
it looks like it's multiplayer.
Yeah,
No?
I think
yes. Okay.
I can't answer for that, but I do know that it has an addictive structure that, yeah, like I said, like Rogue Legacy, you just want to get that one more time to go through, and yeah, it looks pretty cool.
And you know that we love, I'm reading directly from the description, Vertical Drop Heroes is a procedural platformer RPG hybrid with roguelike elements.
Right there. That sentence right there confirms it as Game of the Year.
You, sir, you get the gold star.
If you say roguelike in anything, and you just have to check it out.
I mean, they really hit all of the buzzwords there. I really think they did.
The marketing team's on point right there.
On point. So good stuff over the last week. Didn't want to spend too much time on it, but wanted to make sure a couple of things that we thought were interesting got called out as you're wading through all of the scantily clad anime mahjong games and some of that bizarre stuff that we've
all
been
these
seeing come out.
Awesome mobile ports we're getting.
Yeah. So we gotta watch out for our peeps about some things that they might have missed when we failed you for a week last week. So, Josh, why don't you tell us about some of the games coming out next week?
Out next week on October 9th, which is Tuesday, we have Bombing Busters from Sanuk Games, and this is like a bomber-like title.
Yeah, like a Bomberman, big top-down grid, set your bomb, walk out of the way. That's at least what I gathered from it.
Right. Maybe multiplayer involved, so it looks like a good type of party game if you're into that. And then here's the big one. Mark of the Ninja Remastered from Clay Entertainment, and I've been waiting for this one personally for a long time, ever since it came out through the 360, and now finally get to play it.
And so you didn't play it on the 360?
No, and it never became backwards compatible with the Xbox One. So
wow.
Yeah, it's one of those
bizarre.
sort of games that was lost in time, really, unless you have an Xbox 360. And now it's coming out for PS4 and Switch, and I can't wait to play it. And
this is definitely one of those original indie console games. These came out, I want to say it was the second year of Summer of Arcade on Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah, it's like the pioneer of stealth too in the 2D plane. Like, I think was highlighted for how amazing it is for stealth in 2D. So I love stealth games, and it's right up my alley.
I want to hear about it when you do play it, because I'm on the fence with this one. It looks awesome. I see all of the near or perfect scores for it, but I always walk a line with stealth games. I don't want to. I hate the
it's not
auto
for everyone.
Yeah, I hate the auto death stuff, and I want to be able to feel like I'm moving at my own pace rather than, a lot of stealth games, it's just sit there, watch the pattern, and then sneak into the area. And I feel like a lot of times more about patience than it is skill. So I'm curious to see how this game handles it. But, oh man, this game looks like it'll be right at home on the Switch.
Yeah, easily. Next, oh man, Disgaea 1 Complete from NIS America. And if you've ever played one of these games, it is the ultimate time sink and hundreds of hours you could basically put into this game.
Yeah, hundreds, literally.
Literally. And
I mean, it's a turn-based strategy tactics RPG.
So many systems in play. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, it's the only game you could ever play if you're into that thing. But
yeah, if you're into it, definitely a desert island game.
Yeah. And then next on the 9th, we have Shift Happens.
Hey, watch
Clever.
your mouth.
I know. My kids are going to call me out for this so bad. Daedalic is the developer, and it's a co-op puzzle platformer. On the 11th, Thursday, we have, and this is a really cool title, Tricky Towers from Weird Beard Gaming. And this is like, takes the Tetris formula and turns it on its head, because what you're doing is you don't have a set parameter. Like, you have this block at the bottom, and you're moving these Tetris blocks down, and you're trying to build your tower up as high as you can by fitting these Tetris pieces, and first one there wins. And I had a lot of fun playing this with Eli and Titus and Erica, just because you gain powers as you go. Do you get certain checkpoints, then you can like make someone else's piece like grow super big, and can make another one that helps you like by sticking this other block so it won't fall over. And the thing is, it can tip over at any time, so you need to make sure your pieces are exact, which is basically never the point. It's meant for, frenetic fun, just out of control party type of title. So
I mean, what you're saying, it sounds almost like this game has to be played with other people.
That's when it's at
not
its
the same
best.
thing by yourself.
It's fun, but yeah, when you have a group of people and you're flinging these power ups between other, messing their stuff up, it's a blast.
Wow, it's got a 9 out of 10 or a 90% on Metacritic, and it's got over 1,800 reviews.
I played it.
That is impressive.
Yeah, I played it on the PS4, so that's why and it was free on PS Plus like months ago. But yeah, a lot of fun. I highly recommend it if you're going to get a game on the 11th. Next, we have The Swindle from Curve Digital, and this is a steampunk adventure game where I'd say it's hard to explain really, because it's all procedurally generated, but it takes, you're like trying to steal money is the basic goal of the game. And as you go through the levels, they get progressively harder. And it was fun, but it just was so hard when I played it on the Vita that I sort of gave up on it because of that. So
it's another one that's been out for a while that's getting ported over.
Right. Yeah, it's been another one that's been out for a while, but yeah.
How is the art style, the story, like all the stuff that isn't the difficulty and gameplay, are all the presentation elements there?
Yeah, I really like the art style. It has, like you said, steampunk, and it also, pretty art textures. I would say though that sometimes there are a few times that I remember where I would actually get stuck in the environment, or it would like make an environment where you couldn't get to something that you needed to, which was sort of annoying.
Because of the random element of it?
Yeah, like it wasn't Q and E before getting out.
Interesting.
So maybe they patched that and it's better now, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's been time. Those could definitely be fixed, and hopefully so.
Exactly. Next, we have Chasm from Leadman Games, and this came out earlier on other consoles as well, and this is your typical light Metrovania title that you gain different powers and you make it further. I think it's procedurally generated too, which turned off a lot of people, but I've always been intrigued to try this one.
That's right. I remember hearing about it where I remember hearing chatter on a podcast or something where they were saying, kind of the whole point of the Metroidvania is that progression of finding items, getting a little further, backtracking, seeing new things, but that maybe a complaint I heard about it is that when it's procedurally generated, you kind of break the foundation of that a little
Right.
bit. But it was a Kickstarter. It's done very well so far. It's only been out on other platforms for like a month, I think. So it seems like it's got some steam. You said you haven't played it?
No, I haven't played it yet, but I was planning on picking up because I think it looks pretty cool, and I like the
does.
Metrovania elements that they put into it. I mean, it isn't doing anything drastically different, but like I said, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, you want to hit on this one?
I'll take the... I want you to tell me about Joggernauts.
Joggernauts? Well, I haven't played it, but
I didn't ask if you played it, Josh. I said I want you to tell me about it. So if you don't know, you just make it up.
well, you're this jogger and you're astronauts and you got Joggernauts.
That, you know what? That sounds pretty good. You could be a jogger or not, maybe.
No, this looks like from the developer's Graffiti, and it looks pretty cool actually. Like I need one of those types of games where Rumbo or Speed Runners, where you're just racing against someone else.
Yeah, and it looks like you can mess with each other while you're on the plane and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
It looks interesting. I think this one might be on PS Plus this month, or I feel like it's launching on maybe one of the other consoles as a free inclusion with their, Games with Gold or PlayStation Plus. So not that we want to discourage anybody from buying a Nindie, but if you already have those services, you might want to see if it's there first. The next one, I'm so excited. And it's technically on paper not a Nindie, but it is independently developed, and that's Child of Light.
yes.
This game is one of the UbiArt framework games published by Ubisoft, originally developed by the director of Far Cry 3. After finishing Far Cry 3, I understand the story. Basically, he went to the powers that be at Ubisoft and said, I made one of your biggest games of the year, brought this franchise back from the brink, all that kind of stuff, and just asked to fund an independent project that was a passion project for him. And if it's a JRPG at its heart. I mean, it's developed in the US, but it takes the notions of a JRPG, but it does some things that are just phenomenal. The entire game is told as a storybook. Every bit of dialogue rhymes. It's got a very specific rhyme scheme. The traversal getting around the game is actually side-scrolling, and you can fly, and it almost kind of feels like Knights. That might be a deep cut Sega Saturn game, but it's got a gorgeous watercolor art style, and the combat system is similar to Grandia or other RPGs where you can see whose turn is coming up next, but you have the ability to impact the order of those turns. And so as such, even if it's not too challenging, you always have to pay attention. And I love it when an RPG can force you to think about every interaction.
Yeah, I like you displayed it right on the dot. Like, I love the traversal in it, like the in-between parts as well. And yeah, it's really neat. Neat title.
Very cool. I say, if anything, buy the game so that it maybe gives us a shot at getting a sequel.
Yeah, I could totally see that happening. One that wasn't mentioned, what's the World War One Valiant Hearts? I think that's come out soon too for it, and that's one that I highly recommend because it's by the same team, and yeah, they're on to something with those types of games.
Yeah, and have we gotten any more? I mean, so the UbiArt framework was developed by Ubisoft for Rayman Legends. Legends was first and then Origins. No, other way around. I forget. But
yeah,
the newer Rayman games that came out that are, they're awesome games, and I think they're both on the Switch. At least Legends is. But so they built this art style just for this game. I have a feeling that it didn't take off as much as they had hoped for, but they were able to salvage all of the tools that they built to make Child of Light and Valiant Hearts. And man, I would love to see them do more. I wonder if they've done anything else with it.
Yeah, they have to be working on something else right now.
I hope so. Ubisoft is doing some cool, weird stuff right now, like with Starlink coming out soon, and so maybe they got some more tricks up their sleeves with this one.
Sure thing. Next, we have Feral Fury from Scandinavia Games. And I don't have much to say about these next titles, so I'll sort of just go off of them. Or unless you have something to say about Feral Fury. Because it sounds like it's cats, and you love cats, I know that.
Isn't that feline?
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm thinking of, whoops.
Yeah, the game looks like it looks kind of like a Contra style or something. Like, that's not the style of the game, but the art style is like dark, industrial, like near future, kind of post-apocalyptic. It's a twin stick shooter that's also a roguelite. So I hear that and I think like Nuclear Throne and some of those other similar games. I might check this one out. I think a top-down twin stick shooter is always a great thing to have on the go.
Nuclear Throne was really underrated.
I played it just the other night for the first time in like a year and a half, and that game kicked my ass. Man, it's hard.
It's so hard.
So hard.
My kids love it too, though. It's really fun. But
hey, for kids to play Nuclear Throne, now granted, it's a little violent, but
it is.
These roguelike games are good at teaching you that you don't have to win a video game to enjoy it.
Right. And that's the big thing. Next, we have Battle to Group from Merge Games, and this is like a battleship game, it looks like. I don't know. Pretty much that's all I can gather from it. So, there you go. Game Developer Story from Carosoft, and Jeff, you have fondness for this title that I cannot explain.
Yeah, Game Dev Story is one of those like time management type mobile games that were so popular right when iOS, came out, when we first got the original iPhones and iPod touches and stuff.
Yeah.
It is so endearing. It's the game dev story. You go in there and you build you develop an indie game, and then it does well. You have to pick, do we make a sequel or do we outsource and do like a porting project, or, it's hilarious that it's on the Switch because it seems fit in terms of theme, but it's a vertically oriented touch game. So, and I don't like that not only does this game come out by Kairosoft, but also Dungeon Village and Hot Springs Story are all these these are good versions of this kind of mobile game, but these are games that I would be shocked if they are pulled off well on the Switch. So I would say save your money and buy it for 99 cents on your phone because it's awesome there.
Yeah, meant to be a phone game, but who knows? Maybe they added some stuff for the Switch. And then we have Boom Ball Boost Edition from Virtual Air Guitar. And this is first person wall ball. On the 18th, we have, which is the week after, we're getting sort of far here, but there's some good games on the horizon. X-Order from Fat Dog Games. And then we have Jackbox Party Pack 5.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, I have all of them for the PS4, but I think I'm going to buy this one for the Switch just because you can take it with you so easily. So that looks really cool. Duro, The Art of Cooperation from Inkkit. And I like your description. Some kind of weird line thing. Clever.
I can't explain it. I don't get it.
Burn Some Rubber / Drift Legends from Lux Trade. Then we have Siberia from Microids. And this is in between that indie, but also AAA space. But I guess they're pretty neat adventure titles, I think, from what I can gather. Sinner's Sacrifice for Redemption this looks pretty cool. It's an action title. It's supposed to be one of the higher level releases for that day, so definitely check that out. Moto Racer 4 from Microids, and then we have Tied Together from Head Up Games. This is a co-op puzzle platformer. Yeah.
That one looks cool. I'm going to keep my eyes on Tied Together.
Head Up Games, they have a good pedigree too.
I recognize they did Terraria, or however you pronounce that, as well as Runbow, and, Josh, they made The Binding of Isaac.
Oh, well, just one of my favorite games of all time. Okay.
So Josh says just buy it when it comes out.
Yeah, it's an immediate buy now. Yeah. So there are your new releases for the next couple weeks that'll keep you occupied for sure.
Let's take a look at games that are on sale right now. Not a ton, but there's a good few that we'll hit on that are great deals right now.
Yes, and first we have Maria the Witch. That's 50% off, and it's $249, which looks pretty cool. And this one I can highly recommend. Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time is 40% off at $8.99. And I don't have this for the Switch. I have it for the PS4, but it is a ton of fun to play. I play it with Eli and Titus, and you're in a spaceship around sort of the spaceship, and you have these little guys that run around inside, and you have one person control the guns. You can have one person fly the thing. You can have one person activating a shield, and then there's power-ups that change all the different mechanics of everything, and it's a lot of fun. Different planets. You can play against bosses, and you're trying to save these little bunny-like things from this capture, and it's a lot of fun. Like,
people that talk about this game seem to really like it.
It's really cool. Like, I highly
never
recommend
played it, but it seems like a blast.
Yeah, it really is. Then we have Minute. That's MINNIT for 25% off at $7.49. And I've also heard really good things about this game because each section is only a minute, but you learn things that each time you play. So I'll probably pick that up.
Does that give you incredible curiosity when you hear that premise? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking.
Right?
That's what it's in. I think I'm going to buy it this week because I've sort of been waiting to buy it until there was a sale. So maybe that'll be my purchase of the week.
Cool.
Devious Dungeon is 25% off at $5.99. We've talked about this on other episodes. It's basically in that same vein of League of Evil or whatever, where you're going down into dungeons and you level up and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Very fun.
Yeah. Mugsters is 40% off at $8.99, and this was a really unique game when I played it on the PS4. But
I am very interested in this game. I get Blast Core vibes.
It's so
old N64 game.
Oh my gosh. It's so hard to talk about. I don't know how to explain it because you puzzle solve, but you're saving these people that are captured from this alien force, and you just have to look at it. This is one that everyone should have if they're into party titles. Overcooked is 50% off at $9.99. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's definitely worth picking up because it's a lot of fun, a lot of chaotic fun, and highly recommended. Next, then we have Joe Devers Lone Wolf. It's 50% off at $7.49. This is another one I've sort of been waiting to maybe purchase once it's on sale.
Who is Joe Dever, and why does he have his name on the title?
You don't know who Joe Dever is?
No.
Oh my gosh. We're going to have to stop this podcast right now.
Let's see. What does that mean? We're quitting, or does that mean I have to look it up?
No, I'm just kidding. I have no clue who he is either.
Joe Dever is a British author. Wow, you really had me fooled. I thought
did.
It was some dude.
You're I should have known about this person.
I was like, damn, dude. All right. Well.
No, it's come on.
He's an author. Okay, I don't recognize any of the Fire on the Water, Caverns of Katie. Katie? Kalta, Shadow on the Sand, Castle Death,
That's
Fight from the
funny.
Dark.
Yeah,
All right.
I have no clue.
Somebody is listening right now in their car, and they're like screaming at us because they are, they run the Joe Dever fan club, and they can't believe we don't know who he is. But this game, it's one of those ones where it's like, how does this game run on the Switch when you look at it? And
Yeah.
oftentimes when I think that, the answer is it doesn't. when you see it in motion. So
It has good reviews though, so I'm giving it the
Okay.
benefit of a doubt. Yeah.
all right, cool.
And then finally we have The Escapist 2 for 40% off at $11.99. And we've hit on this title before too. I have it for the PS4, but basically you're trying to escape a prison and has this cute retro style to it, but there's a lot of in-depth mechanics that it'll take a lot of time in different prisons that you have to try to break out of, and yeah, it's pretty extensive, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, so big ones coming up for you gonna be Mark of the Ninja and Chasm, I think you said.
Yeah, those are the main ones. I don't know if I'll probably get Mark of the Ninja right away because I've been really looking forward to that, but I'll probably wait on Chasm until it's in the sale list.
Yeah. I'm thinking about Mugsters. I might try it. And I'm also thinking about Minute. Both of those are very much piquing my interest, at least of what's on sale. New games. Yeah, Mark of the Ninja, man. I don't know if I'm going to like it, so I need to watch a Let's Play of it and see if it's up my alley.
Yeah, I've been waiting for it, so. But yeah, Minute looks great too. Might pick that one up as well.
Well, we would love to hear what you're picking up from this week. There is so much out there. There's lots of great stuff on sale. Tons of games that have come out in just the last 10 days since we did our last episode. And lots of great stuff coming out soon. So if you want to talk to us, we have a Facebook page. You can find us at Nindie Nation. Fantastic group community there. Mostly people recommending games, and it's good discussion about that. What do you think I should play? Here's what I'm considering, stuff like that. And we are also on Twitter at Nindie Nation. You can find me at Nindie Jeff. You can find Josh at _the_Brant. And we're also on YouTube. Go search for Nindie Nation. I put the audio of all the podcasts up, and an always never-ending promise that we're going to try to get some Let's Plays up there. Still hope to do that soon. And then let's see, did I mention anything? You can send a self-addressed stamped envelope to P.O. Box 77432. No, not really. Let's see, Josh, why don't you tell them about Nintendo Village?
Yes, well, we're hosted by the Nintendo Village, and it's a great site that you can go to read up on reviews, previews, plus the best part I like about it are the shows. There's a lot of great shows there. And we just received Nintendo Nostalgia as a new show that's going to start being hosted through the Nintendo Village.
I've seen them, really? I didn't know that. I've seen them on Twitter. I think
they
I
are
follow
great.
them.
They are. I was on an episode of GoldenEye, and that was so much fun to be on.
How long are the episodes?
We can get up to 2 hours, 2 hours plus. Yeah. So if you're in a really long podcast, it's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend.
Good stuff. I also love Mouse Bites on there. I've listened to a handful of those episodes. What's neat about a lot of the podcasts on Nintendo Village is a lot of them are evergreen. You know, we obviously do something that's not necessarily evergreen. It's a little timely because we're talking about new stuff coming out and sales. And then they've also got a handful of shows that are focused on news and things like that. But a lot of these games are great a lot of these episodes are great to listen to anytime, especially Nintendo Nostalgia, Mouse Bites, stuff like that. So take a look. And with that, I still haven't thought of a really good way to end the show yet. So Josh, take us home.
And with that, Nindie Nation is unplugged. Plug. That's the best you get right there.